Are you wasting your time and money on inefficiencies in the business? Are sales down and lead conversion rates are low? Are you having problems building or maintaining inventory levels? What does it really take to win in the automotive industry?
Get the cars that make sense for your store rather than just wishing at an auction. So it gives you that better control.
With over 25 years of experience, Daryl the Wolf Steed isn't just another industry voice. He's the guy who's out there solving real problems for dealers just like you.
They'll even say in the Pacific Northwest where you're at that it's a tougher market. It's, it's tougher to find cars. The market's a little bit softer. And in the midst of all this, your turn doubled and your profit's up 75%.
Yes.
The truth hurts only when it should. Are you ready to hear the truths? Daryl is here to unpack the hard truths and the proven strategies that will take your dealership from struggling to soaring. And he is taking it all in the streets, with real talk, open dialogue, unfiltered conversations. This is the podcast series, Street Smarts, powered by Smart Wolf Consulting.
Welcome in, you guys. We are going to jump into some conversations today. Kind of going over stuff. 1 second. Come join in on the convo. All right, just putting some stuff in the comment block. People can come join. So you guys, I made a post talking about the year review, what's going on in 2026. And 1 second, live on Facebook and LinkedIn. And so we're going to just go over some stuff, guys. So as we jump into this, you guys, we all know that 2025 was a strange year. 2026 has proven to be, a difficult start. That's okay. That's what happens in the auto industry. You guys will see a link that I dropped in. What's up, Jim? Into LinkedIn and Facebook. If you guys want to join and come into the stage or come in and put any input in or debate or anything like that is great. But I want to kind of tell you guys, some things that we've noticed and some things that we got to get better at, and then things that I'm dealing with that everyone can learn from. It's one of those things where when we're in an industry that likes to keep people silent. As some of you guys know, I had a situation last year where, I asked questions and I asked them publicly, and I plan on doing that a lot more this year. And basically, I dealt with some attacks and some negativity from a lot of people that try to claim that they're positive, right? They got little yellow pucks around their names and says that they're all about positivity, but then they lay attacks at people. And that really just shows you kind of the industry we're dealing with, right? And today's dynamic is, we've got to do more of if we say we're going to do something and we are something, we have to be that. We have to be consistent. We have to be more about pulling people up and less about people being torn down. And, the end of last year, we didn't see a lot of that. We saw a lot of people saying that, things weren't good and things like that. Like me, I'm always looking at the upside. Even with situations and challenges I'm dealt with, I'm always looking at that. And I'm dealing with one that is, put my family in an extremely bad hardship. And guys, I'm still happy to be alive. Absolutely thrilled at the opportunities that I get with clients. And, what I've noticed is that we have a lot of people out there spreading messages of that there's these miracles, these things if you turn them on, software companies, you turn them on, you're going to magically do better. You're going to buy more cars, sell more cars. AI is going to replace us all. And, I thought for a minute, when we sit there and think about it, we have so many great people out there. If you guys don't remember, I did the 100-day challenge of recognizing 100 great people in the industry. And I probably didn't get to everybody, to be dead honest. Probably didn't get to everybody. Wish I could have. Unfortunately, there's so many good people doing so many great things. It's really hard to get to everybody. So I identified quite a few people that did very unique things, that were doing up and coming things, or people that just no matter what gets thrown at them, constantly are looking at how they can improve themselves, the industry, people around them, or help. And it was very fulfilling. However, we keep seeing it, guys. I've seen posts this week. I've seen posts this month of, guaranteed results, or the like, if you turn this on, it's going to magically make you better, thinking that we don't have to work anymore, that we don't have to do this, guys. And what I do, like helping people do used car operations, build acquisition strategies, and buy centers across the country. And it's no longer an argument, guys. I'm the best out there of when it comes to used car acquisition to help people build this. There's lots of people that claim it. The simple fact is there's so many people that talk about it and they'll tell you like, oh, you can do this, you can do this. There's so few people that actually get in the trenches and can do it. That's the long and the short of it. But when I thought about that, isn't that the same in a lot of different industries? Isn't that what we're seeing in a lot of industries? Is everyone seems to have like a handout or a handbook or a little book or a pamphlet of like, here, if you do this, you'll magically have wild success, thinking that like if you just do a couple of things, it's going to just rain, money from the ceilings. And it's just not true. It's just not true, you guys. It takes hard work. It takes discipline. It takes execution. And it takes understanding that you have to shift, move, change, and adapt on a daily basis. Now, when I say shift, change, adapt, and move, I don't mean we have to come in and turn the whole store upside down. I think some people think like, okay, when you turn down, no. You have to make tweaks of the dial. You've got to look at every little thing in what you're doing, but you've got to bring people in that understand this. I was just in a conversation with a partner of mine, and they're talking to a big dealer group, and this dealer group is struggling, to say the least. And I thought it was extremely interesting because they're struggling. And so they get presented an option that would legitimately help them. We're not talking about something that would like turn everything upside down. No, this would help them and they would get them back on track probably within 60 to 90 days. And they're like, yeah, we're going to hold off. And so when you think about that, you guys, is everyone's looking for this miracle cure of like how they can get business back, because they want the miracle cure so they don't have to do anything different, so that they can continue staying in their comfort level of doing the same exact thing and getting the exact same results and wondering why they're not getting better, why they're not taking market share, wondering why people are passing them up. And at the end of the day, guys, it just doesn't exist. You got to put in work. You got to put in effort. You got to put in execution, and you've got to bring in people that understand what they're doing. Now, the reason I wanted to kind of jump on and do a live and kind of go in, it's been a while. I was knee deep in social media everywhere and putting out messages, putting out free trainings, things of that nature. And at the end of the day, you guys, I love what I do. But I need to spend more time with my family. I've got to do that. And now I'm going to, I'm back at it. I'm back in the work and everything else. And because of a situation I'm dealing with, because of a breach of a contract and agreements that were made to me that weren't paid, now I'm going to have to obviously put a lot more time in and take time away from my family. So that's kind of why I jumped on here, is to kind of give you guys a little bit of insights to, you guys got to make sure that you're not getting in business with the wrong partners, the people that promise you the world but can deliver you nothing. You really want to vet out when you're hiring people, when you're hiring vendors, when you're hiring partnerships, when you're hiring contractors, whatever it is. Are we asking the right questions? Are we finding the right people? Who's actually willing to work with you, work for you, work with you, work in the trenches with you? And then who are the people that sit there and say that they'll do some webinars with you and they'll tell you what to do, but they can't do it themselves? And I think that's really kind of the preface of like, this is going to be the first in a couple of series, because there may be more details coming out. I've had to do a couple of different things. So I've had to file some paperwork with the state of Illinois. I've had to file some paperwork with Securities Commission and everything else due to investments and everything else, because I'm now dealing with a really terrible situation. But why come to you guys and talk a little bit about this is, why would you guys want to make the same mistakes, right? There's ways that you can navigate and find good partners and find good opportunities without you guys getting yourself into the same position, right? Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone puts themselves in sometimes the positions that they end up getting screwed over, ripped off, stolen from, things of that nature. But listen, if that's what ends up happening, that's what ends up happening. The least I can do is make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else, right? That's how you make sure that a negative turns into a positive. And the first thing is when you're working with vendors, I want you to ask every vendor moving forward if they have investors. Does anyone invest in you? And if they don't, that should be a question. That should be. Why doesn't anyone invest in them? They might say something like, well, we don't take on investors. Why is that? Well, typically you don't take on investors because if you do, then you have a fiduciary responsibility to ensure, one, that you're making money, and two, that you're doing things the right way. If they do have investors, then we should talk a little bit more about those companies and the ones that are doing with this is how do you treat your investors? Like, how do you take care of them? Like, do they see profits? Do they not? Like, have they ever seen returns? Guys, at the end of the day, right, it's when people invest in you and things like that, how you treat the people that invest in you is how you're going to treat your clients. Then the other one would be is, hey, do you have any other contracts? Have you ever not like paid them? Have you ever been in default? Are you ever past due? How many of you guys, contractors, dealerships, people, how frustrating it is if you send an invoice and it's due on the 1st and you don't get paid till the 25th? Not the ones that you do net 30 or anything else, not those, because that's the agreement. But like it's due, and then I call them the profitable delinquents, right? Where they pay you, but it's whenever they feel like it, it's not in the agreed terms. Well, when you think about that, guys, if you ask somebody before you do business with them, if they have that situation, you'll know if they're telling the truth. You'll know. Because they'll do a lot of the uhs and ands and the because again, if they don't do business like that and they don't have those problems, then they don't have them. If they do, they're searching for an answer to explain why they have these problems. So that's one thing, you guys, I would think that you guys, let's make sure that we're being a little bit more steadfast in the people that we're doing business with. You know, we always want to go with the cheapest option or the most affordable option sometimes rather than the best option. The best option might be more expensive. The best option might be someone that works harder for you. The best option might be somebody who just pays their bills on time. Because at the end of the day, if they don't pay their bills on time, what are they going to do for you if they're a vendor for you? Are they going to treat you with the type of level of experience and excellence that you're looking for? Or are they going to be like, well, I mean, listen, we're doing all we can, it is what it is. Like, oh, well, how do they treat their business, right? Because that's how they're going to treat you. Another thing is, guys, is asking them questions like, hey, if I call you at 8 o'clock at night, are you going to answer? I get it. Some people, they don't want to, right? They're like, no, we're only on 9 to 5. Well, is our business in the auto industry, is it 9 to 5? Or is it 7 a.m. till 9 or 10 o'clock at night? Is it open on the weekends? Of course it is. So when we think about that, you guys, you really want to make sure that you're finding those right opportunities, those people that are going to go to work for you, that'll go to war for you, and they'll put in the time and effort. So like a couple things that I do that I make sure that separate myself from other people is my phone is available from 5 a.m. in the morning until 10 o'clock at night Pacific Standard Time. Now, not everybody has to do that. I do that because if someone's calling me and they just want to chit chat, I'll be like, yeah, man, I'm not trying to chit chat. Not unless it's during like regular hours. But if you're calling me outside of those hours, my guess is there's some kind of issue you need help with. I'm here to help. Now, some people will say like I make myself too available. Some people will say that's crazy. That's okay. If that's what it takes to get my clients, my customers, or whoever it may be to the level of success they need to be at, then that's what it takes. But I also know when I was a used car director and when I was in the industry on the retail side, is that it was the most frustrating thing in the world to have to call a support line, sit on hold, then not get an answer and still not be able to do the job I need to do and be hindered by software or be hindered by the lack of support or be hindered by something. So I wanted to make sure that I did something that was different. Now, when you're talking about who you're investing in is you can make an investment, you can make a personal investment, you could make a business investment, or you could just get a vendor and say, you know what, guys, I want to hire you. And let's just say like, you want to hire them to do something, right? 1 second. Hello, Jim. And you can certainly do that, right? And it's not a big deal. It's not anything. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to hire you, okay, and I'm going to have you come in and do something, like I want to know what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and not just, you can't tell people, right? You can't sit there and tell people how to do something. So here's a great question to ask any vendor you're going to hire, okay? Any vendor, any person you're going to hire, great question. When's the last time you did this yourself, and what were the results of that? Now, if they start with, well, I've coached or I've told people, and no. Nope. I don't want to hear any of the bullshit about you've told anybody anything. When's the last time you've been in the trenches yourself, got your hands dirty, did this, and what was the result of said action? Guys, if they can't do it, why would you trust them to tell you how to do it? That's what makes me the best at what I do. I'm in the trenches on the daily, on the weekly, making calls, engaging with customers, videoing calls, looking at cars. Because if you can't do it, right? The ones that say those that can't do, teach. Well, if you couldn't do it, the last thing I want you doing is teaching me how to do it. Right? It's kind of one of those weird phrases we hear, but it's like, if you weren't able to do it, how are you going to teach me how to be the best at what we do? So things that we could be asking people a lot better and finding, make sure, let's get the people that actually know what they're doing, that are experts in their field. And then here's one for you guys that love AI. Okay. This might be controversial. Some of you guys will stick with me. Some of you guys won't. Yeah, don't. Okay, guys, AI is a tool. Stop trying to think AI is some magic bullet that's going to make your business magically better with you doing absolutely nothing, because it's not. AI is a tool that can get you some values, that can get you some speed to line type of things. But at the end of the day, we are people, and people are built to connect, okay, and engage. And if you're taking that piece of away, and I will deeply get into this, and anyone that wants to jump in the stage, there's links in Facebook, there's links in LinkedIn. You can jump in the stage. It'll show me you're in here. You can come in here. We can debate. We can discuss it. Because listen, I'm not afraid to talk about these things or be turned. You might be able to convince me another way. But when we depend on AI, guys, here's what ends up happening. Is an AI bot, because there is no truly agentic AI system out there yet that can do everything, is that they have all these conversations. Maybe they can do some text messages, assuming you can get through the opt-in nonsense. Okay. And then what happens when it gets to your store? I want you guys to think about that for a minute. What happens when you get to your store, guys? Is it, oh, wait, we've already seen this movie. It was called DR. We thought it was going to be so easy and it was going to be so great. And then when it got to the store, it turned into the 1980s again. We had to start all over. That's what we're creating, is the brand new DR wave with AI. Is that we say it's easy, it's fast and everything else. Then when they get to the store, we don't have the same path, the same experience, we don't know where it got left off. And so we start all over, and we don't know what conversation was had. So now we start all over with the conversation. So now the connection is completely ruined for the customer based on the pathways. And now you've made the experience very awkward. What happened to teaching our people how to have conversations? What happened to teaching our people how to connect? What happened to understanding the human psychology pathways and then figuring out what the customer's intentions are and guiding them through a process so that they want to do business with you? So I'm not telling you AI is dead. I'm just telling you AI as a savior, that's dead. AI is just a tool, guys. It can't make us better. All it does is enhance what we do. So if we don't make ourselves great, then it's just making our bad selves a little bit better. So when I think about that, you guys, when it comes to acquisition, and you guys can put in the comments. I know I got Jim hovering in here. I got it looks like 6 or 7 people on one stream, 6 or 7 on the other. How many of you guys have, if you're in a store or you guys are a vendor or whatever else, are hearing hand over fist, people are crushing it in used cars right now, that they're just winning at all levels? And I'm not talking about the 1 or 2 that are doing it really well, right? Shots out to a couple people out there. Rob, you know who you are, man. You're killing it. And you spent a lot of time grinding it out, and you deserve all the success you guys are having. Okay, we've got the Jermaines, they're killing it. A lot of time invested in their struggling, failing, moving, and then now they're successful. But how many of you guys are actually hearing, oh man, they're killing it? They're just, every time you talk to someone, they're like, oh, we're murdering it in used cars. It's just great. It's so easy. But yet we don't address it. We just are like, well, we hope it turns. We're just going to keep going to the auction and making sure that Manheim's the single most profitable company in the automotive industry. Right? So it's fun. The path forward is definitely not, it's relationship based. It's always relationship based, right, guys? But when we think about if used cars is a challenge, right? And we know merchandising is a challenge and new cars are a challenge because of affordability. We don't just have one challenge. Well, but don't we? Now that I think about it, don't we just have one challenge? If your used car department was thriving and you had it to where you didn't need the auction like a drug dealer giving you drugs every day, right? Because that's what it is, right? The auction is basically the best drugs in the world. You're hooked on them. You can't get off of them. If you were able to be self-sustained and didn't need the auction, and the auction could be a piece, but not a dependent piece, wouldn't everything else kind of fall in line? Fixed operations would be better. Parts would be better. New cars would be better because you would have more cars than if they couldn't get that. You could flip to new cars. Wouldn't it immediately change the dynamic of the situation? So why isn't used cars our number one focus across the country? Why isn't acquisition number one? So I just think about that, and I wanted to go live and just ask a couple questions and let everybody know, guys, there are snakes out there, okay? There are companies that are giving you guys some really bad info. really bad. There are companies out there that are selling you guys a bag of goods that's basically rotten and is going to put you in a position to waste 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, even up to 10 grand plus a month on some magic bean you plant in the ground that is going to get you nowhere further, might actually take you backwards after doing it. And I'm going to tell you a quick story about that. There's a company I'm now working, a group, okay, 15 stores that I'm now working with that hired somebody else. And they were doing okay. They weren't doing great, but they were doing okay. They started working with this person, promised them the world that was going to make them magical, okay? They were going to deliver them these great ideas and all these things. Didn't show them anything, told them everything. And within 90 days of working with this person, they actually lost 50% of the business they already had. Because they spun themselves a really good story. They sold it like it was basically a chef's kiss. But when it came to delivering it, it was more like a piece of coal. So then they got in contact with me. I'm in their store all the time, their stores, and it's taken us, 90 days. We're back on track, and now we're moving forward. But guys, this is the thing, is that we're always like, do we buy the story, or do we, because they sell it so well, or do we actually do some background? Do we actually say, ask the questions of when's the last time you were in the store and actually doing it? When's the last time you actually engaged with a customer, and how'd that look? Do we put them through? So if some of you guys may have seen on my website, and you guys can go to it, and there's a link in there for how to hire people. And it has 4 different ways to how to hire a person. And I think it's the most effective way to do hiring in today's dynamic, because especially in the automotive and sales business, is it makes them do all 4 things. So we make them do basically a fake phone call, right? I give them an object. They have to do a phone call. And it's basically like back to back, like an old role play. And they have to explain the object to me, but they can't tell me what it is. Can they paint the story? Then we have them do that via text. Then we have them do that writing a letter, or essentially an email, right? So can you write that and paint the picture? Then we make them do a video. So there's 4 steps to this, you guys. And when the handout's free, you guys can go get it. And it's, on the Street Smarts /hire-right.com. And I'll drop in the links here shortly. But you guys, when we do that, now we don't have to waste time with hiring someone. We now know where their inefficiencies are. We know what's going on. So if they're terrible at phone calls, we know if we hired them, we'd have to do some attention to that. If they're terrible at emails, we'd have to do some attention to that. We don't have to guess if we're hiring someone and then where we need to train them or whatever else. We actually know. Now, do we spend enough time on interviews in the proper way? No. But then I thought about this. This isn't just a hiring tool for people. Isn't this a hiring tool for vendors? Shouldn't we put them through the same exact gamut of exercise? Shouldn't we make them do a phone call and see how they're going to treat us? Shouldn't we make sure that they can actually send us an email and show us how to do something rather than tell us? Shouldn't we make them do a text? Shouldn't they do a video? Shouldn't they be able to do the same exact things we're expecting from the people we hire, so that when they're training us, telling us, whatever it is, selling us, that they're good at what they do? Or should we just go based on the fact that they said they're good at what they do? So if I said I'm the best person in the world to make a pie, should you just believe me because I say it with confidence? By the way, I'm not. I couldn't make a pie with a list of ingredients sitting in front of me, just so we're clear. Okay? You could actually tell me how to do it, and I'm probably still messing this up. Okay? So when we think about that, you guys, we have to be very careful about who we're hiring, who we're doing business with. And more importantly, we need to vet these a little bit better, right? We need to vet our client, or whoever we're going to do business with, whether I'm a vendor and I'm, going to partner up with a dealership or a group, or they're going to partner up with me. There should be vetting both ways. So I did a deal last year. Okay. It ended up, they ended up breaching, ended up firing almost everyone in their group. Like, it was a big, huge clean house thing. And there's a lot of money's owed. I should have done a little bit more investigation on what their pattern was. Have they ever done this before? Have they ever not paid a contract, things of that nature, right? And because had I done that, I would have found out, which I found out later, that they had done that before, that they had breached contracts before and not paid people that they made agreements with. And then I probably wouldn't have taken the deal. Now, here nor there, guys, this happens, right? This happens to all of us. But why does it happen? Because we don't ask enough questions. So what I like to do is I like to make sure that when I'm dealing with my clients and I'm helping them out, is that I'm not going to tell you guys anything. We're going to show you guys. We're going to help you guys be in there. I'm going to come to your store. We're going to be in the trenches. Okay. Now I'm not going to be there every day unless you're local to me, or unless obviously we've worked out agreements to where you want me there more often. But I'm still going to show up even on the smallest contract or the biggest contract, because when we're in the trenches, we know that we can see what behaviors are happening. I can actually show you what you need to do rather than telling you, and then hoping you interpret it in a way that's positive that you get. So to those of you guys that are in here and just listening, if you guys want to come in, there's that link in the chat. You guys, in all the comments, you guys can click that link, jump in here. But how many of you guys, and you guys can put in the chat, it doesn't matter, but how many of you guys have found that it's more effective to be shown something, okay, and then explain something and then do it, than just being told something? How many of you guys are like, no, I just like being told something, I get it right away, and boom, I'm in, let's go? I'm just curious, right? How many of you guys are like, no, I need to be shown, or I'm more of a kinetic learner, so once I see it, do it, and hear it, then I'm better at it, right? When you think about that. So I got one person that says, yeah, they have to see it, like someone has to instruct. Some other people might be like, no, once I read it, I know it. That's okay. But we all know, okay, and psychology says and states that if we teach it in all three ways, that it is significantly more effective. So when you think about that, you guys, is we need to make sure that people we're doing business with are actually vested in our business, that want to see us succeed. And don't just say it, show it. Okay. And if they don't show it, you're in business with the wrong people, guys. It's just that simple. Okay. If they don't put time into you, then you can almost assuredly, then they don't care. And in all fairness, guys, if I don't care about my clients, how do I actually expect them to be successful? I don't want to fail. And if they fail, I fail. So I'm vested in every single one of them. Now, when it comes to situations, guys, so I can't really go into a lot of details. I have to wait till all these things are filed with certain states and the SEC and things like that, because there's some news coming, guys. And I have every intention of making sure that it becomes, one second, guys. All right. Mailman must have got here today. So there's a lot of big things going, guys, but some bad investments, some contracts that are in breach and things of that nature. And we definitely will be putting all that information out there, guys, once we get all these things filed, so that everybody knows. Because I will tell you right now, moving forward, guys, don't follow my lead. Follow my lead. It doesn't much matter. But I will tell you guys this for sure, guys. If someone steals from you, someone takes your money and does not operate in a positive or in an honest way, if somebody says they're going to pay you and doesn't pay you, okay, this is typically what the automotive industry wants you to do, okay? They want you to be quiet, okay? They don't want you to say anything. Actually, they're going to tell you, okay, that oh, man, it could hurt you, man. Oh, you could get scathed by this. People are going to think bad things about you. Don't let the Goliath, the bully mentality, keep you quiet from doing the right thing. The simple fact is, the moment someone takes money, the moment someone doesn't pay you, people need to know about that. Otherwise, you're perpetuating a problem of letting other people be scammed, stolen from, ripped off, or paying into a company that does these type of practices. Now, it doesn't matter if people agree with you or don't agree with you. Okay, it is your guys', we'll call it, duty to make sure that other people don't fall into something. Like if you made a mistake or something bad happened to you, hey man, shit happens. We got to roll on with it and keep it positive. But the only influence we have, guys, is to make sure it doesn't happen to somebody else. And if you stay quiet because you're like, well, man, I might get some fallout from this. Not only is that very self-serving, which I get, everyone wants to protect themselves, but at the end of the day, I want to be the person that people know is like, you know what? I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. I don't hide from anything, guys. I'm an open book. You guys ask me a question, someone jumps in here, even the people that I'm not particularly friends with, they can jump into this live right now, ask me questions, and I'll answer every single one of them live in front of everybody. Why? Because we don't need to sit there and lie to people and do different things, guys. We need to have a relationship-based business that's built on trust, built on loyalty, built on the fact that I can actually go and do this business without having to worry about getting paid or someone talking shit about you or someone trying to attack you, right? So when people like, say that like, oh man, I'm all about the good. I'm all about the good, guys. I just want to spread the good news. I just want to spread the good stuff. But then they're the first to attack. I think it's time has come, guys, that we need to start calling them on their bullshit. We need to start letting people know like, hey guys, when I did the last time I posted on stuff, right? And most of you guys saw it. And I know some of you guys remember it and think like, oh man, they didn't know how to think about it. I'll tell you how to think about it, guys. It doesn't matter what somebody does, right? The people that react and the people that throw hate, okay, are always going to be the people, okay, that you should be asking the questions to, because I could ask the question and no one asked the intentions or anything else. I asked a question in a very simple state. There was no real ill will or anything like that. I was asking a question because I was really tired of hearing false truths. But when you see people attack and then they try to stand on this really solid foundation, but then they're attacking people, how can you say that you're the good guy when you're the one throwing grenades, right? Everyone should be able to ask questions. That's why I put the link in here, guys. That's why I put the link in LinkedIn, the way I put the link in Facebook, the way I put the link in YouTube. If someone wants to ask a question, put it in the chat. Everyone can see the chat. Everyone can come in here, and guess what? I'd answer them. I'm not afraid of no questions. Now, if someone asks me questions of like the investments and the people that have ripped me off, I can't say that yet because I have to go through some steps. But I can allude to the fact that you need to be careful with certain software companies that you're dealing with, certain promises that get made to people, because if they take money from people and investments from people and then they don't honor those and they put, by taking money or like not giving money or not paying people, they put their families in jeopardy. I would not do business with people like that. And I'm going to make sure that people know who those are in due time. However, you guys, when it comes to acquisition, this is what you get with me is you guys get somebody who's going to be dead honest with you. If I do something that you don't like, you guys can tell me and listen, we're going to fix it. You know why? Because I care about you guys. I care about the people I do business with, whether it's Lynn Sander, whether it's Jim, whether it's Frank Knox, whether it's the groups that I do business with now, the Fitzgerald group or the Bud Cleary group or any of these guys. If they said, hey man, like, hey, we need you to do this or this isn't working, done, let's go. Why? Because I care. I care more about them than I do about me. Maybe that's a flaw. Maybe it's not. I don't know. So we just decided to go live so that we could kind of chop it up, see if anybody wants to jump in, anyone has questions, anybody wants to discuss things, anyone wants to put it out there. Because guys, in all fairness, guys, when we become stronger as an industry to hold people accountable, the industry becomes stronger. If you guys need help with used cars and you want someone that's honest, hardworking, okay, and is always going to put you first, I'm your guy. Okay, I'm your guy. And I can honestly say, okay, there's no one in this country, I can't say outside of this country, I've only met a couple people, but in this country that is going to work harder for you when it comes to used car acquisition than I will. That I can guarantee you. If I have to work 90 hours a week for the clients that I have, I'll do it. I'd like to do it in 25 or 30, but if I have to work 90, I got no problems with it, guys. None whatsoever. Why? Because then everybody wins. I win, you win, we all win, customers win. We can do this better. We can be better. We just have to decide if we want to be better, right? And starting with like to being better is a simple yes, right? So the other thing that, I wanted to bring up for everybody is how many times are we seeing where people go like, I know we need to address this, but we're going to hold off. How many times have we heard that? Like, I know it's a problem. We probably should do it, but we're going to hold off. I'm just curious. Anybody in the chat, anybody in the sphere, right, guys? Why are we doing that? How many of us have benefited from putting something off today and doing it tomorrow? I haven't run into that in my life, but maybe you guys have. How many people have been like, you know what? I put something off for 6 months. And then after 6 months, I actually, that was the best 6 months I ever waited. So glad I waited. And in the same breath, we say like, man, I should have started this. How many times have we then said to ourselves, should have done this 3 months ago? Should have done this 6 months ago. I can't believe we wasted so much time before we did this. Which one do we hear more often, guys? That we should have done it or that we're glad we waited? I know I ask all these crazy questions. Feels like I'm talking to myself. I promise you I'm not crazy. These are real questions. Zero, Jim. But at the end of the day, you guys, when you think about that and you're like, well, why? And I know we always say it's like, well, we don't have the budget for it. Do you have the budget to keep losing? So let's take used cars, for example. Jim's in here, right? Lynn Sanders in there. They deal with used cars. I'm sure there's some other people jumping in here. Okay. If you lost 10 customers this month because you didn't want to spend, let's just say $3,000, we'll just say $3,000 is a training mechanism. And you lost 10 deals this month, and you could have retained 10 more deals if you would have brought somebody in or got a software or got something else for $3,000. Did you win or lose by not spending that $3,000? I don't know, right? The first question you're going to ask, instead of saying, yeah, we should have done it, you're going to say, well, it depends on how much we make on the deal. That's going to be the first answer almost every single time, which is very odd to me that it says it depends on the amount we made on every deal, simply because it doesn't. You just retained 10 more customers into your customer base for a couple $1,000s, but your average customer acquisition cost is like $600 to $700. So you can lose money by spending to go chase after people, or you can invest money and ensure that you're going to retain more customers, which then as you grow your customer base, it is very difficult not to sell, acquire, or service more cars. But we rather wait. So that's the other thing I want you guys to think about is how many people are showing you, notice I didn't say telling you, showing you how you can retain more customers, whether it be by acquisition, by sales, by service, or by some other mechanism. And how many people are telling you what you need to do, but then themselves can't come into your store and do it. Right? Crazy questions, crazy times, guys. But we have to start aligning ourselves with people that are ready to work, that are ready to go back to what we used to do. Put in the time, put in the effort, have the discipline, know how to execute, understand what consistency brings, and stop trying to hire people or get a software that is the magic bullet, because all we end up doing by doing the magic bullet theory, okay, at the end of the day, is costing ourselves money because the magic bullet never seems to fire. Now, I'm not going to tell you the magic bullet there isn't one out there. I'm sure there's one out there. And when I find it, I'm not telling you guys. I'm going to keep that sumbitch to myself, okay? That magic bullet stays with me. However, the more effective way, okay, is to find the people that are like, you know what? They love what they do. They want to do it. We need it. Let's go. I was on a conversation yesterday, good friend, okay, mentor of mine, and somebody that actually we built the very first buying center way back in 2012. And that was Scott Beal. And it's actually one of the first owners that I got to work with that was really admirable because, not saying they're all good or they're all bad, but most of the ones that I'd worked for were, always looking for the next best thing and everything else. And I finally got to work for an ownership group they were very smart at a lot of things. But they said, look, I can be good at a lot of things, but I'm not great at everything. I got to find the people that are passionate about what they do and are very good at what they do in one particular area so that they focus on that. So I went to work for them. We absolutely crushed it. We built one of the largest buying centers way back in 2012 in the country. And then that's the blueprint that I've been able to consistently adapt, change, and evolve for stores that I work with. And he was like, yeah, that's what it was about. He's like, I knew used cars, but I didn't know used cars and the acquisition and the operations as well as you. So I got someone in here that loved what they did and then told them to go do what they love. That's the other piece, guys, right? When you're looking at hiring people, do they love what they do? Are they excited about what they do? Or is it a job? Like, it's my job. Ugh. Doesn't that kind of give you the ick? When someone's like, yeah, and when people say, oh, yeah, it's a job, I immediately am turned off by it. For me, this is a career. This is a passion. I love it. I read every day. I watch webinars every morning when I'm in the gym of how to get better or things that are happening different or difference of opinions where people are saying things that are so crazy to me, okay, that I'm like, that makes no sense to me. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to see what they I want to understand what they see. So maybe it gives me a different aspect. I'm engulfed in it, right? So this is just one of those things I want to jump on, kind of get myself back out there, you guys, let you guys know what's going on. But at the same time, guys, we got to be careful of the people we do business with. We got to be careful about giving money to people. We got to be careful about getting in business with the wrong people because it's maybe less expensive or whatever else. There's a lot of software companies out there, guys, a lot of software companies in used car operational type things right now. A lot. I mean, well over 100. And they're all going to promise you some magical, like, if you do this, you can do that. I will tell you right now, with used cars, outside of if you wanted third-party leads, which I'm never going to tell you are a bad idea, but first-party leads, developing your own strategy is always going to be long-term better success. But like the software companies of like where they pull private parties in, or the software companies that like, use AI to give you a value, and then like they do the engagement via text, with AI. If you guys want it, great. It's not going to solve the problem for you. You got to have good people. You got to have good foundation. You have to have good execution, and you got to have people that are willing to show you how to get there, that have been in it. And I kind of want to wrap it up. We didn't have anybody jumping on the stage. I thought we were going to have some people come in here and maybe debate or whatever else, but I want you to think about like this. If you opened a store right now, let's just say somewhere crazy, like middle of Wyoming, where like a populace of like 5,000 people. Let's just say it's a super small like village. And you hired all kinds of people and said, okay, we're going to start something, and it might be great. It might be super awesome. Do you think that store is going to have the opportunity to get to 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000 cars a month in sales if they don't bring anybody into the operation that knows what that looks like? Or let's better ask the question. What do you think the likelihood is that that store is ever going to see over 100 cars a month if the only people that are there are doing all they can, that's the best they know how to do, but have never actually seen an operation do 300, 400, 500, 600, up to 1,000 cars a month? See, when we hire people and they don't know what they don't know, it's hard to get to where we want to go. That's why you bring people in, or that's why you say, let me find the people that know what this looks like so that we can get the blueprint, the execution, the discipline, and the consistency to get where we want to be. So if someone says, hey, I can help build you a buying center, and they've never been in a buying center or recently, or they've never actually done it, right? So there's a couple of you other like, oh yeah, I've got one in my store. What do you guys do? Oh, we do like 30 a month. Like, well, what do you want to get up to? 200. Have you ever been in an operation that's done 200? No. Then how are you going to get there? What's the first step you're going to do? Well, we're just going to focus on buying. Okay, well, you got the focus, but if you don't know what it takes, or you have never seen it, you can struggle through it, or you guys can expedient things, or be more expedient by bringing in people that know that it look like. I've actually have operations right now that are doing 250 plus. I have operations that are doing 300 plus. The one that the two that I did where I was in it daily, we were doing 250 plus a month. So it's like, if someone asked me, Daryl, can you build us a buying center to do 1,000? I'd be the first one to say, like, I probably not. Now, do I think it's possible? Sure. But I could get you to a certain point, and then we would need to look at other things that have never been done before. So could I get you there? Yes, but not without like reaching out to people that have seen huge operations. Now, the good news is I've never seen an operation do 1,000 cars a month in private party. Okay. Now you could say like a CarMax or a Carvana, but in one area, probably not. I know where I live in the Sacramento area, the CarMax in Roseville, I do know bought 1,000 cars back in the heyday, right? Pre-COVID, a couple of months, but not every month. But they're on the backside of the second largest auto mall in the country. So, I mean, when you have that type of drive traffic, that's going to help. But I would never tell someone like, oh yeah, I can get you to 1,000. Yeah, let's go. I'd be like this, guys, let's get to 250, 300, 400 first. And let's see what that looks like. And then let's discuss how we get to 1,000. Just be honest. I don't need to sell you some bill of goods. I'm just here to work for you. I'm here to work and do it the right way. Now, when I talked about getting honest people, guys, my bills, they get paid automatically. There is no float. If it gets sent to me, it gets paid. I don't wait, right? If someone needs something, it gets done the same day. I don't care if it's 10 o'clock at night. Okay, if someone calls me, I do it. You guys are my priority. Start hiring people, start talking to people, start associating yourself with people that do things the way that you want to do, like that believe in your excellence. Don't believe the sizzle. Don't get caught up by certain software companies. And I mentioned software companies, right? Because that's what we'll be dealing with over the next couple of weeks. But there's so many of them that are giving out so many bad messages and leading people astray that's actually hurting their business. You need somebody that can come in there and show you guys how to do it. You need somebody that they're there for you. You don't want to hire me, that's okay. Hey, you just want some advice, or you want to vet, like, hey, I'm just curious, I'm looking at this, what do you think? I'm free. Phone numbers in TikTok, phone numbers in Facebook, phone numbers in LinkedIn. You can call me and say, hey, I'm looking between these 3 soft companies. Which one would you believe or that you think is the best? I'll give you an honest opinion. You don't have to go with it. It's free though. Why wouldn't get a second opinion? It's no different than calling a reference, because I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes that I see dealers make or groups make. That I've went into 4 groups in the last 6 months, and we've had to turn a lot of stuff off because it was stuff they didn't need and basically overpaid for it. And the vendors weren't doing their job. We can do better, guys. We can hold people more accountable. But I would start asking vendors, right? Do they take money from people? Do they have investors? Have you ever not paid an invoice? See their reaction when you ask that. If there's hesitation, they're stuttering, then they're guilty. That should make you think twice about doing business with them, right? I know it will for me moving forward. Okay. I won't do business with anyone that if I see them stutter on that. I want people that do it the right way. I want people that I know when I like associate my name to it, that I'm not putting my name behind somebody that's fraudulent to other people, which unfortunately this last year I did. I put my name behind somebody that I've now seen how they conduct business and things of that nature, and it's not great. So when you make a mistake, you got to acknowledge it, you got to move on, and you got to make sure that people don't make that same mistake. That's what we got to do. That's how we make sure we take care of people. I hope all of you guys have a great day, guys. And listen, Smart Wolf Consulting and Street Smarts, I'm telling you guys, we are killing it, guys. Absolutely killing it. We've got a whole new training structure, which has been absolutely phenomenal. It's all about connecting with people, changing the course of how we talk, direct, and engage. It focuses all on customer acquisition. Obviously, we buy cars, but the more customers we acquire, okay, the more cars we end up getting, the more sales we end up getting, the more service we end up getting. It's a full focused approach on customer acquisition, and we've been having a lot of success. So if you guys need help, great. I'd love to have a conversation with you. If you guys are vetting other companies and you just don't know and you're on the fence, give me a call. I'll spend 2 minutes with you and give you a fair assessment. But if you guys stay tuned, guys, there'll be more. Once we get all this other stuff filed, okay, we're going to be making a lot of stuff public, okay? A lot of stuff public. We're going to be posting a lot of stuff so everyone can see, right? Because there's nothing wrong with obviously calling things out and telling people stuff, but you got to put everything out there. So you'll be seeing the contracts that I've had, right? You'll be seeing the emails. You'll be seeing everything because I'll be posting it all so that everyone can see, and then you guys can make your own decision if you want to do business with people that do things the right or wrong way. But you guys, until then, you guys, let's wrap up February and have an absolutely fantastic March, because I think March is going to be, okay, one of the bigger months for used car operations. That's what I think. Based on what we're seeing, based on the analytics that we're seeing, based on the movement we're seeing, February was tough, especially if you're in that eastern seaboard. I mean, you basically got knocked out for 10 days with like 19 feet of snow, okay, and sub-zero temperatures, which primes us for a really like good bounce back, right? So let's keep that positive energy. Right. Let's make sure we're ready to go. And if you guys need anything, you guys, Smart Wolf, Daryl Steed, man, I'm always here to help. And I hope you guys have a great day. All right, guys.